Welcome to the eMerge Basic Programming Product Overview. My name is Paul Jones. I'm the Technical Trainer here at Linear Corp, and this will be covering version 2.5.18 eMerge panels. Today we're going to go through System Hardware Overview. Under Programming, we'll set our TCP/IP addresses. We will enable the nodes. We will name the controller and the node. We will program the access blade. Configure portals. We will configure reader groups. We will create access levels, use the card decoder, and assign a card to a person and test. These are the capabilities of the eMerge panel. We can do photo ID cameras, ID badging, IP cameras, analog cameras, DVR integration, pan-tilt zoom cameras. We refer to a card reader, a lock, a contact, and a rest as a portal as we bundle them together. We can do temperature probe monitoring. We can also do elevator control, alarm panel disarm. The eMerge panel in itself, combo board. It is a controller and a node on one circuit board. The controller controls the nodes control the blades. In one can, I can have a ribbon blade. The ribbon cable that connects these blades together are a true bus. The first one goes to the controller node, and we have connections for 7 more blades. The transformer input that comes with the eMerge panel supplies 24 volts AC. It in turn supplies that to the power supply inside the can that puts out 12 volt DC. The backup battery, which is recommended, is not included with the eMerge. It's an option. The eMerge system is a 3-tier panel. There is no 485 running from panel to panel. Every node needs an IP address. We have a network controller that can hold, the first can is a network controller that can control the node and hold up to 7 different blades. If I needed to add on more, I would add on an expansion node, and that in turn, I would add on more application modules depending on what I'm trying to accomplish. The computer talks to the controller talks to the node in turn controls the blades. The blades then report back to the node, back to the controller, and back to the UI user interface or the computer. 2.5.18 is a Linux-based operating system with a MySQL database. The network controller has a 2-port switch on it. The network controller has to have a static IP address. A static IP address is a permanent address that does not change. That controller can support up to 32 nodes. On the combo board, the first board, the node is already on it. That in turn can support up to 31 more nodes. Looking at the network controller on the combo board, if we split it in half, the right-hand side is the actual network controller. The left-hand side is node number 1. We have the ribbon cable connector, a node reset button. It's a soft boot to reset the node itself, a tamper switch input, 12 volt DC input, battery backup charging output. We have an LED indicator that will tell you the condition of the node, a 2-port network switch, the controller reset button. The bottom view of the combo board, you will see we have an I button. The I button is your licensing, is what you purchased, what that eMerge panel is capable of doing. Keep in mind, if you ever lose a combo board, you have it go bad, you take the I button out, do not send that back. That I button frees up memory on the combo board. We also have a battery for the clock and calendar, so if the eMerge does lose power, it still keeps the time. An expansion node. If I went to add on another node, for an example, I have my combo board, node number 1, I put 17 ACM blades in there, a total of 14 doors. I need to add on another door, I would need to add on an expansion node. I don't need another controller because I have a controller on the first node. So if you look, On the expansion board, I have a ribbon cable connector, tamper switch input, 12-volt DC input, backup battery charging output, a single port network switch. Have two reader inputs, reader number 1, reader number 2. I also have 4 inputs. It can be used for request to exit, door contacts. I also have 4 outputs. It can be used for locks, lighting lights, whatever it is I decide to do. There's also the ribbon cable connector. We have an input blade that is nothing more than 8 inputs. If I had doors where I'm monitoring the doors, but they don't have card readers on them, for an example, I could just wire them into the inputs. And we also have the ribbon cable connector that connects it to the bus. The output blade has 8 2-amp Form C relay outputs. We also have the ports and port usage. Port 80 is the default web server using HTTP. That can be changed in the eMerge panel if it is not acceptable. 3306 is for default for database servers. 7262 is for network controller auto recognition. We may need to unblock 7262 for eMerge communication. Port 69 is used to pass software upgrades to the expansion node. Port 80 must be open for browsers to access the eMerge user interface. And port 443 must be open to the network controller for browsers to access the eMerge user interface using HT to try to get the doors working through programming. First, we'll set the TCP/IP in the panel to match our computer. We're going to take our computer and direct connect to the eMerge panel, program it, get our 2 doors working, and test. The first thing we need to do is change the IP address to make sure our TCP/IP settings are correct. Select Control Panel, Network Connections, Local Area Connection, Properties. We scroll down until we see Internet Protocol TCP/IP. Address of the eMerge controller, the network controller, is 192.168.0.250. I need to set this computer's address for an addressing scheme that can communicate with the eMerge panel. So I chose 192.168.0.100. Subnet mask will be 255.255.255.0, and I select OK. I close down the other screens, and I'm ready to enable the node to communicate with the controller. I'm using Internet Explorer, Safari works, any browser will work for the eMerge panel. It's completely browser-based. Everything's embedded in the panel. There is no software to download. All I'm going to do is enter 192.168.0.250 upon initial setup. This is where I can change the IP address of the network controller itself, if I needed to. We prefer to have static IPs throughout the eMerge system. The network controller has to be static. With the nodes, I can get by with the DHCP address, but the network controller must be static. In this situation, we have a static IP. I can set the time in the controller. This is where I could change port 80 if I needed to do so. Once I'm done setting up my emit mode page, I really don't need every time I log on to the panel to see it again. So I'll say no, and I will reboot the panel. Whenever I make a change in the controller, I need to reboot the panel. Once I reboot, it will bring me to the login screen. The username and password are admin, admin, both in lowercase, and I select Go. This will bring me to the main menu. The first thing I need to do is have my controller communicate with the node. So I need to go into Setup, Site Settings, Network Controller, and I see that my node is not enabled. I need to enable the node. I will select Network Nodes, and there's a box that says, I see that the network node data has been updated, but I'm still disconnected. All I really need to do is refresh this screen. So I'll just go to Network Controller. I see that I am connected. If I had more nodes, I would see them across the middle here. This is when labeling becomes very, very important with eMerge. If I'm going to have 3 or 4 nodes, I probably don't want to light them all off at the same time. I probably want to light one of them off, connect to it, label it so I know which node I'm working with, energize the second node, communicate with it, label it,